Okay, so somebody asked me to do a tutorial of how I would edit without using reshade. I don't really know why, since I'm not that good at editing. I can do the basics, but I just thought, why not? I might as well just show you. And this is the picture I've chosen. It's a picture I took in game with SRWE, which just enhances the quality of the picture. As you can see here, it's way bigger than usual. It would be maybe, for me it would be this resolution instead. Oh yeah, like this, I think. So it's, as you can see here, it's way higher quality, and it's just way easier to edit it instead of using reshade, because every time you open SRWE, you have to reload reshade as well. So if you have a lot of different reshades, which I do, I didn't even have that many actually, I used to. But if you do have a lot, or if you just have like maybe 5, it takes also 5 to 10 minutes, and you have to do that each and every time, because you need to turn off SRWE again in order to see what the pose looks like, and change the position, etc, etc. So it's just way easier if you want high resolution pictures, and you also, or if you don't have, or if you're not able to have reshade, it's just easier to be able to do this on your own, and then have higher resolutions at the same time. I can't live without SRWE anymore actually, so this is just way easier. It's gonna be pretty basic. I'm gonna blur the background, add some shadows, maybe change the coloring a bit. Yeah, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blur the background, and I'm just gonna put it in speed mode because it's very tedious. But I basically just outline the ones I want focus. I just make an overlay of and just do the silhouette of them, and then I'll mark that. I'll show you when I get there, but let's get started. Okay, as you can see, I have now just done an outline of the people I want to be focused, or I want to focus on. Yeah, you don't need to do it, as you can see I did it roughly, and you don't need to do it precisely, and I will show you why. So the first thing we're gonna do sorry, I said tick instead of it's Danish. Anyway, the first thing you gotta do is copy the original picture, and then you're just gonna mark the white here. It doesn't instead. I'm just gonna make sure it has okay, we're gonna do this instead. I'm just gonna set the problem here is you probably can't see it on video, but it also marks these small holes I have here, so I'm just gonna remove those holes so it doesn't delete that. There. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna delete this from the top picture here, and then you're gonna just blur it with the Gaussian blur, You can choose yourself how much you want it to be blurred. I think I like it like maybe this. But you can see it has been blurred and those two are more focused. You can also blur it a bit more if you really want to go crazy. And then you can just take the eraser, make it soft, and just run it along the edges of the Sims. Or if you like that soft look, you can just keep it like this. Kind of like it like this. I might just erase some of the greenness down here. So, just gonna check over here, hardness and everything. Just gonna delete a bit of this. So it becomes a little less green. But I kind of like the soft look it gives it. If you let some of the background just be a bit blurred over the Sims. But if you don't like that, you should probably either just delete or erase this a lot, or you can, you know, maybe make the outline a bit more precise if you want to. I don't really care to make it precise, but that's your choice. I'm not gonna interfere with that. As I've said earlier, I'm not amazing at editing, so this is just for those beginners. Yeah, I'm just gonna delete a bit. Actually, I'm just gonna use this one instead. So yeah, this is how I would blur the background. Now you can see those unfocused. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna crop it a bit. Yeah, because I don't really like how it looks. I think I'm gonna crop it a bit more. Maybe like this. Yes, I like this. Just gonna adjust this to the size. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add make it a bit softer looking and make it prettier, add some shadows. First thing I'm gonna do is just make it a bit softer looking. So we're just gonna take this and we're gonna use this medium blur to just blur it a bit. Just a tiny bit like this. So you can see it has more soft look now. And then I'm gonna make it an overlay as something called soft light. And then I'm just gonna remove a bit of the colors. Maybe make it a bit lighter. Like this. Here you can see, sorry if you can hear my mom in the background, she has a very loud voice. I hope you can't hear her, but if you can, I apologize. So here you can see the before and the after. It just adds a bit more effect. You can also just play around with it, make it the opacity a bit lower if you want to, like make it 80 perhaps. But I just think it adds some more details, makes it look a little bit softer. It's not much, you can, but a bit softer. Also, I'm just gonna, she has these weird lines here. Don't know why, if it's the dress or, although it's an EA dress. But anyway, I just blurred it manually to get rid of those lines. Okay, so before the overlay, after the overlay, it just adds a bit more pang to it. I'm just gonna try to see what happens if we just adjust the shadow and lighting, if something good happens, or if we just... Yeah, I kinda like it. I think I'm gonna do that. So what I just did was this højlys, it means like, I think the lighting of the day or something. And then white hvidpunktsjustering, like white point, yeah, adjusting that, I don't know, adjusting the white point. So I just hit all up with the white point because then it adds a bit more of the light, and then just made this a bit darker, so the shadows became a bit darker. Yeah. Totally, yeah. So this is what, if I want really dark shadows over here, but I don't really use this that much. Maybe we could use it just a tiny bit. So this is the before, this is the after. It's a very little difference, but it's an important difference. Okay, so now I've added this overlay. I made it more detailed. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add some shadows and some lighting on their faces to make them look more realistic. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, now as you can see, I've added some black and white coloring to their faces. I just do this, you know, based on, yeah, just my feelings, what I wanted, what I think may look good, and then on the shadows they already have. So sometimes, if you're new to this, maybe you can experiment, or you can just try to build on the shadows they already have and just add more of them. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna blur it, and then I'm gonna see when it looks good, blurred, and then I'm gonna blur it, and then I'm gonna just maybe delete a bit or make it less obvious. Kinda like it's soft like this. So obviously this is a bit too obvious on hers. I'm just gonna delete a bit. Then I'm gonna blur manually like this. And here we can also just blur it a bit. Before, after. So it just adds a bit more shadowing to their faces. And you can also just blur it manually if you want it more softened. Now we're gonna look at the white here. Just gonna blur it a bit more. We need to blur all of this. So before, after. So here you can see what it adds. Yeah, that's basically what I always do, because it just adds a bit more detail to the picture, makes them look a bit more natural. Yeah, it's not really a big thing. I'm just gonna remove, because I thought this was gonna look good, but then it didn't, so I'm just gonna remove this a bit. This. So it's pretty easy, pretty standard doing this. You just need to experiment yourself and figure out the easiest way for you to do this, and maybe try different methods, and yeah. So now we have done a couple things. I'm just going to copy the original picture and put it on top here so you can see the difference already. Before, after. It's a very subtle difference, but it adds something to the picture. So what I'm going to do now is, this was pretty basic. This was basic stuff, so now I kind of want his makeup to be a bit enhanced. So that's just what I'm gonna try to do. Just gonna call this original. Yeah, so I'm just gonna try to enhance those eyeshadow colors. Just a tiny bit. I want them to pop out a bit more. So this is just, it's pretty simple. I'm just gonna color it myself. And then hopefully it will look okay. And then I'm gonna do the blue. I'm gonna do this like this. Don't worry, this isn't the finished product. Then we're gonna add soft lighting again. Just Gaussian blur. So, and you can also make it maybe like this, then it has a bit more. It's an overlay instead of soft lighting, so you can see it just adds a bit more pop to it. And then normally I would also add an overlay of just complete color if I want a certain, you know, color of this. I would just soft lighting and then I would alter the color. Just gonna do it like this. So this is if I chose to do this brown one, but I could also do a more cool color. Just add this overlay and then you can make it more gray if you want it less obvious. Like so. I normally do this if I want, you know, a special tone in the photo. So I often actually use pink. You need to use a neutral one though. If you use a really light one, like up here, it just becomes lighter. You can also do that if you want to. That's whatever you choose. But I normally use a bit darker one. I think I actually like this a lot. Let's just see how it looks close up, because I don't want it to override their skin tones either. I just want a tone in the photo, so it just adds a bit more romance to it. As you can see. Yeah, and it makes the pink pop a bit more. You can also, if you want just that to pop more, you can just choose up here. I want it to pop. So I'm just gonna only color these, and it doesn't, yeah, you don't have to be precise with this because I'm gonna blur it anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. Just gonna make them pop a slight bit more, a tiny bit more, like this. And then we're just gonna fill those out. Make it soft light. Blur it a bit. Blur it a lot bit. Please blur. Okay, is this blurred enough? Do we need it more blurred? I love saying blurred right now. I feel like Dracula or something. Obviously not the real Dracula, as you can see, it just makes it pop a bit more, and then you can adjust either the color if you like. Just do. Yeah, it's a bit slow now because I have like 700 megabytes. But yeah, you can also use this if you just want a different color. So perhaps I want it to be a bit more light. It doesn't look exactly great, but yeah. Oh, or if I wanted it, I think this way is blue. Yeah, if I wanted it like this instead, or for some odd reason, it's slightly, you know, like this. If I wanted it like this, I could just change the color up here. But I don't want it like that. I want it like this, and then maybe just a bit less over the top. So before, after. And let's just see the entire before. Yeah. So I actually really like how it looks now. I'm just gonna delete the history here and save it. And then I'm gonna maybe add some sparkles. You haven't seen this? You did not see this? Okay. Because sometimes I add a bit of sparkles to the jewelry. So I have this saved on my desktop, skrivebord. That's not how you pronounce it. You pronounce it skrivebord, so yeah. I just have saved this that I just use from time to time. Just add alpha channel. Gonna remove this because I don't want this. And it makes it easier to separate black and white, like this, and then just gonna make them all entirely white. As you can see, there are tiny black dots, like so. Oh, I'm gonna put this in a new layer group because we might do a lot of them. So I'm gonna choose this one. And I'm just gonna make the marking a bit smaller. Let's just see. Obviously I'm not gonna make it this big. That would be insane. Maybe let's just say if we put this to this. That seems nice, actually. I placed it well. So it just adds this shine to it. So let's add some more. You're not gonna get away with only adding one. So this time, okay, copy this layer. This time we're gonna take this one. I use this a lot. This sort of square thingy. It's the most simple and it just works more often than the others, I think, personally. I'm not very good at adding this glitter thing, but I try. Maybe put it to 35. Is that a bit too big? I feel like that's too big. Yeah, it needs to be smaller. We're gonna set it to 15 instead. Here it is. Small little glittery thingy. Glitter, glitter. You like glitter. So we've just added a bit of glitter to his earring. And I just think it adds a bit more to the photo. And just makes it more fun to look at. It's a very small detail. Doesn't really matter that much. Well, it matters to me. And I'm just gonna duplicate this. Oopsie. And move it. Oh yeah, and make it a bit smaller maybe. Maybe a 7 instead. Yeah, so it's just a bit of whiteness here. Gonna duplicate this also and add it to this. Does that look good? I don't know. No, I don't like it. But we can add it down here to this. Because that's also shiny, I guess. Ta-da! So what I'm gonna do is Maybe if we do it like this. I just wanted to have, you know, a bit like, yeah. So this will be removed too. So I'm just gonna mark all of this white. Then we're gonna make it the same layer size again. Then we're gonna remove this. And then we're just gonna outline those two heads here and see what it looks like if we remove everything but the white. What I do a lot, or what I used to do a lot, was I would just experiment with editing. I haven't watched any videos, I always say it like that. I haven't watched any videos on it, I've just experimented and it didn't look very good in the beginning. Please don't scroll down my edits and see all the bad ones. I mean, you can probably just compare it to the new ones. The new ones are a tiny bit better. But I'm not really that into editing. Oh yeah, the ones I did of art pieces, I'm really liking those. The others are okay, I think. I know I said earlier you shouldn't compare yourself to others, but I do compare myself to other people. I just don't beat myself up over it. I don't look at Clovis or Richport or Simandy or all the other people who are Meatball Thief. It's weird saying their URLs aloud, but I don't look at their edits and go, oh my god, why are they so much better than mine? I don't. I just go, oh yeah, they're really good at editing. I'm not really on their level, but that's fine. I don't really care to be, and I haven't even practiced enough to be on their level. There's a difference between acknowledging that you're worse than others in some fields, and then beating yourself up over it. Okay, so let's try doing this. Maybe we can... let's see. Oh yeah, I also just want to do... Oh yeah, we should also do it for the feet. I forgot the feet. Just gonna put that on. Do it like this, and we don't want the feet. We also want the feet a bit out of the picture. That sounds weird, but it just makes it look a tiny bit better. So, just gonna outline this too. Here they are, the feet. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't have the same editing skills of some other talented people on Simpler who have practiced clearly a lot and maybe who have some other programs. I don't know. But that doesn't really matter because I still think I make okay, good edits. And it doesn't really matter that I can't do edits exactly like them. Because I still make edits in my own way, and it's not like the world is gonna end if I can't make an edit that looks exactly like some of theirs. And also, yeah, I haven't put as much time into it, so it would be kind of amazing if I could just do the same as them without practicing. Yeah, and it's fine to acknowledge that, I don't have to be the same as them. If everybody could edit like them, like the top editors, then there would be, you know, it would end up where no one would be good at it in the end, because everybody would be good at it. And everybody would do it the same way. So I don't really mind it. Not really anyway. I don't think I need to be able to edit on their level. So I don't. And I also do not. It's not like it's my favorite thing in the world. I prefer making wedding dresses and I'm good at that. So I don't really need to be good at everything. And as some of you know, I studied biology and we had something about mushrooms. It's gonna be, can you feel it already? It's gonna be so exciting what I'm about to tell you. But we had about mushrooms and how they're adapted in a way where, you know, they can't be good at everything, because if they're good at everything, they're, you know, they suck as much at everything basically. So we have something about being adjusted to the climate. Something about, you know, harsh climates, like if it's really super cold or dry, etc. Then we have something about being able to compete with other mushrooms, other fungi. And what more do we have? Then we have something, I think, what was it? There's the environment, there's competition, and then there was the last thing, I can't remember what it was. But the point is, if it's sort of like a triangle, so we have each of those in every corner. Then if you're good, in order to be good at maybe competition, you need to be up here. But if you're good at all three things, then you're in the middle. So that means you're average at everything. And those mushrooms or fungi do not survive. So do not focus on becoming good at everything, especially not immediately. And focus on the things you want to be good at, and don't compare yourself to others in fields where you don't really put the time in. If you put the time in, you will eventually become really good at something. That's just how it is. So do not despair. If you see people who are better than you, they just put more time into it. So it's obvious that they're better at it. It's really, that's the way it goes. You can't really expect, I have never expected to be better than, let's say, Isaac Perlman, because that would be insane. To be better than him. I just focused on becoming better than the past me. And that's what you should do too. Okay, what I did now was I just softened the edges manually. Just make it a bit more softer. So, let's look at the original. This. And this is the after. Woohoo! What do you think? Do you like the way it looks? Can we make this screen bigger? Can we make it bigger? Maybe that one? No, that didn't work at all. Okay. Oh, here, down here. I'm not an old grandma, I promise. So this is the before, this is the after. So as you can see, it's pretty simple, pretty easy to do this. I think it looks way better. Yeah, I actually really liked how this turned out. I think it looks great. I think it has that mix of realism and while retaining the look of the game and adding some more shadows, some more coloring. And yeah, blurring the background is really a must if you want a proper edit. So as you can see, it's not that difficult editing something without reshade and making it look like you have actually used reshade. Yeah, and sometimes what I'll do is, I'm just gonna save this. It's perfect. what I'll do with this sometimes if I'm feeling adventurous, what you can also do, maybe if you have another pictures, you can just add some different colors. Okay, this is really ugly, but what you can do is, I'm just gonna do stripes now, okay? This is to show you what you can do with colors. This has nothing else to do with anything. So, ignore my weird sounds, please. Okay, so if you do this, ta-da, maybe add some green lighting too. You can be more, you should be more specific with this, but I'm just gonna show you what you can do. So as you can see, it just adds a bit of coloring to them. So, and we can just blur it like so, and then you can see a bit of color. Just adds like a little funness if you want like different colors to fall on them. Do we like that? Do we? I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna blur it a bit more actually. It might work, okay? It might work. So yeah, it just adds a bit of tiny bit of funness to this. Adds a bit more colors. Like you would never see a skirt in real life which is just one color. Or if you do, that's a very boring skirt. Boring. Sorry. It just adds a bit of funness to it. A very slight bit of funness. But we like a slight bit of funness, so it's okay. So this is the final edit. I hope you've gained something from this. Those of you who don't want to or can't use reshade. I hope you've learned just a bit, and I encourage you to experiment and try different things. Remember, you don't have to do everything perfectly. Oh, that's another picture. You don't have to do everything perfectly because, as you can see, I didn't do that either, so you shouldn't have to. Yeah, we can just go closer if you want to. Ta-da. Put it down here. And the original, the after. So it has gotten a softer look. It has gotten some better shadows and some better lighting, because that lighting was shit. If you wanted to, or if I wanted to, I could also just fix up the ear. Actually, I kind of want to fix up the ear now. I'm gonna fix up the ear. Okay, done. I fixed up the ear. Before. After. It's magic. Okay, so I think that's my video. I don't really have anything to add. You can experiment yourself, add more sparkles, do something with rainbows, maybe just like slabber the colors all around. Yeah, you'll figure it out. Thank you for watching. Yeah, have a nice day and have a Merry Christmas or whatever you're doing on that day. What day is Christmas even? Is it first day? Have a nice first day if you don't celebrate Christmas. I think my Christmas is gonna be pretty dull, as it always is. We're not really big Christmas celebrators. We just eat some good food, open some presents, play some games, like my brother and my parents and I. So pretty dull. But yeah, here you go. This is the edit. You can, if you wanted to, you could add some more splash of colors to this if you wanted to. But yeah, have a nice whatever vacation. I don't know. Yeah. So good luck trying this yourself and experimenting. Don't be afraid of making so-called mistakes, because yeah, you're gonna get better at some point. So don't get too hung up on not doing everything perfectly, because you don't need to. It's a game. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!